beginning, please remember to introduce yourselves. Recording in progress. Please be sure to introduce yourselves in the chat, whether you're familiar with the Mentoring Connector and what program you are affiliated with. So we are very excited to share with you today the newly formatted Mentoring Connector. Our partners at the National Mentoring Partnership have been working on this for a very long time to make it more user-friendly for you, programs, the people that we here at Mentor Maryland DC are here to serve. My name is Renee Angela Mock. I am the Program Outreach and Support Manager for the Maryland side of Mentor Maryland DC. My colleague Justin is here today. He'll be dropping useful links and etc. in the chat. And Justin, just let me know if there's any questions in the chat that I'm missing. But we will ensure that everything you see today, you'll also get in a follow-up email from myself and Justin, so you have all of that information. So before we get into kind of looking straight into the connector, I do want to go over some of the basics about how the connector works, because it seems we have some new people on the call who are just becoming familiar with the Mentoring Connector. And we do here at Mentor Maryland DC, it is a goal for us this year to get as many programs engaged in the Mentoring Connector as possible, as well as getting people engaged via the prospective volunteers and mentors, getting that information out to people who are looking to be mentors. So your time in the connector is as fruitful as possible for you, the programs. And now we're doing exactly what it says, that we're connecting prospective mentors to you all. So just to go over some of that background information, and please again, drop questions, etc. in the chat. I apologize that you'll have to be listening to me chat talk so much today, but I promise I'll make it worth your while. So there are 3 national standards for programs to be accepted into the Mentoring Connector. So it is like an application registration process. And here locally, myself and Justin, we are your local administrators, and we will be doing that approving into the connector. So those standards are based on our element of effective practice, which I know most of you are familiar with. I've done trainings with you all on these things. So these are directly connected to that to ensure that at minimum, you are doing these standards to get into the connector. And it's our goal for you to meet all of the standards of the EEP. And those are things that we'll cover in other trainings, but we want to ensure, again, that there is some continuity and congruity with programs who are in the connector. So those are background checks. This is extremely important, of course. It is one of the EEP standards, talking about criminal history background checks. When you apply into the connector, there are different types of checks that you can mark off that you do. But here in Maryland, and Justin, if you can actually look this up, net check, if your program or a new program is looking to figure out how to do background checks, net check is a local option here in Maryland that is extremely low cost, but that looks different for every program, but it is a minimum qualification to get into the Mentoring Connector, of course, because that has to do with safety, etc. Second, training for mentors. So this again goes back to the EEP. We want to ensure that mentors are as prepared as possible to interact with students. That comes again back to child safety, etc. We'll ask you when you apply to the Mentoring Connector, we'll ask you a little bit about that training. I'll say as well, and if Justin can drop this too, and we'll remember to put this in our follow-up email, we do have a Mentor 101 template on the Mentor MDDC website. So you can literally, it's a full slide deck and facilitation guide. You can pull it, input your personal information, zhuzh it up, make it look jazzy, and your program's colors, etc. But we do, and we have recordings of when we went over that Mentor 101 with programs. So if training is an area of need, we got you. We want to make sure your mentors are trained, and that is a minimum standard to get into the Mentoring Connector. I'll say as well, we are going to be hosting some supplemental trainings for mentors later this spring. So please keep in touch with me about that. And we are looking forward to that and providing as many opportunities as possible for mentors and for you all, to get training and professional development that is meaningful. But again, background checks, training for mentors, and then that minimum match commitment. So this is a evidence-based standard that the minimum match commitment for a mentor and mentee should be 1 year. We know I come from programs, I was a mentor coordinator. That doesn't always happen, and but it's always the goal. So we want to ensure that that is an expectation that you are communicating to mentors who are joining your program, that they're considering at least a year commitment when they're coming in, so that we're not bringing, adults into young people's lives and then immediately pulling them out. So those are, again, the 3 basic standards that are in your hands when you're applying to be in the connector, and or if you are new and designing a program to consider, so you can utilize the connector. So the next few slides are a glossary of just kind of terms that we're going to be using as we go through the tutorials about, and when we're having this language as we communicate over the course of the year with you about the connector, so that we're all kind of speaking the same language. So approved, you've applied, you've met the standards. Thanks for that, Justin. So that's net checks, a background check option for you and your mentors. People still joining, so fun. So yeah, if you're approved, you're in, we got you, you've met all the national standards. So pending, so you've submitted to your application to the mentoring connector and you're waiting to be approved or denied by us here at Mentor Maryland, DC. And then denied would mean that you've not met the national requirements. If your program is denied from the mentoring connector, we will reach out to you directly to see what we can do to help you ensure that you're meeting those national standards. So a suspended program would mean that you're not consistently responding to inquiries inside the connector. We don't want this to happen. Again, we want you to be engaged, but it would remove you from the listing for when mentors are going in, and we will watch a video about what it looks like for mentors who are looking for programs. So you want to be active in the connector because that goes to serve you and where you'll show up in a listing, which is really important for you all. And then active, you're in there, you're engaged. Kind of like I just referred to, there are levels of activity in the connector and how responsive you are. The connector keeps track of that. And then as a result, more active and responsive programs show up higher in a search place. It's not the only part of that algorithm, but it is important. So the more active you are, the more it's going to serve you and the more easy it will be for a mentor to find you. And again, any questions, please drop in the chat and we will be happy to stop and pause. So the national administrator, so this is our friend Usama at Mentor National. That's who me and Justin reach out to when there's something that we can't deal with. The affiliate administrator is myself and Justin. So any questions about the mentoring connector, you can reach out directly to us. And Justin, if you could drop our emails in the chat, that would be great. Program administrators are you guys. So if you are the one at your program that puts your program into the connector and will be monitoring it, we would refer to you as the program administrator. And then volunteer contacts is that first point of contact that you can do directly from the connector, and we'll show you later on exactly how to do that. And then the level of access. This is again, we don't. Oh, yes. So this refers to different things that the mentoring connector does. So if you go through the NQMS, which is the National Quality Mentoring System, you will have, that will be within the mentoring connector. If you have questions about NQMS, follow up with me afterwards. But that is another standard that if you have reached a certain level of the NQMS, the higher you are in NQMS, you will show up again higher in that algorithm, that search algorithm. And if you're interested in completing the NQMS, you can apply for technical assistance. And Justin, I'm going to ask you to drop that link as well. Our consultants will work with you to go through the National Quality Mentoring System, which is something that we suggest programs do every 3 years. And that is an opportunity to do some kind of auditing of your program and adjusting so that, again, you're meeting those EEP standards and best quality standards. So again, we want the best quality and highest standards of practice programs to be most accessible to mentors. So again, those are things that will influence the algorithm when mentors are searching for programs. Prospective volunteers, usually the people coming into the connector and applying and putting what we call inquiries. And then if you're currently not accepting volunteers, this is an option for you to select within the mentoring connector. So if you only bring mentors on in a cohort fashion and you only are accepting applications for a certain period of time, your program can be marked as that. So you wouldn't be receiving inquiries. People can still see your program, but they'll see that you're not currently accepting volunteers. So be sure to adjust that so you're not getting, leading anybody on about your opportunities, but it's something that you'll want to keep up to date as possible. And then again, these volunteers or these prospective volunteers, we consider them volunteers in the connector once they've received a response from you. And then again, that program responsiveness that I've been referring to, this is calculated by 7, 14, and 30-day intervals. On our end, for me and Justin, we are going to be doing that outreach to you typically within 14 days. If there is an inquiry that has been sitting in the connector for 14 days, we'll reach out to you to let you know to reach out to them. Again, we hope it doesn't get to that and that you'll be able to reach out within a reasonable amount of time for whatever your program standard is. But again, the quicker you respond, you'll be rated higher in program responsiveness. Inquiries, those are the people coming into the connector looking for programs. When they submit their name and information to you, which again, we'll see what that looks like. Excuse me, that is an inquiry. So there is embed code. So if you are interested in putting a link to the mentoring connector on your website so that people who might get to know your program first can submit their information, if that is easy and works for you, please reach out to us so we can get that embed code to you and you can adjust your website accordingly. Otherwise, the mentoring connector can be found on our website, the National Mentoring Partnerships website, Google, etc. It's out there. But if you want to put a link directly on your website, please reach out to me. Again, my email's in the chat, and then that search, we'll see what that looks like a little bit later on, but that is, excuse me, when a volunteer is putting in that inquiry. So before I move on, are there any questions about some of this language, any confusion before we go into what the mentoring connector actually looks like? Questions? Cool. So I want to, because I don't want to take up everyone's time forever, let me actually move this over here. So I'm going to ask, we're going to do a quick poll. If you go to menti.com and enter code 73234062. Let me bring this over here so you all can see. We're just asking, what is really important to you to review today? So we make sure that we go over it, and then if there's something that less people are interested, we'll do that last, so anybody else can go either like that. So what aspect of the connector do you want to review today? And we can, if there's additional questions, please stay on and we'll walk through some things with you. So what is an inquiry and what does it look like? How to respond to inquiries, how to use the dashboard. So when you log into the mentoring connector, that dashboard, what does it look like? What does it mean? And then how to submit your program for the mentoring connector. So I'll give you just another minute or so if you can. Yes, that dashboard. And our dashboard does look slightly different. I can show you all a little bit later, but that is our dashboard, is how we keep track of you all. And it looks like we're going to start there. So let some more people in. Welcome, everyone. We are about to get started. First, we're going to review how to use the dashboard, how to submit your program, and then we'll go into inquiries. I probably will still show you what an inquiry looks like before we talk about responding to it, but we are going to jump right in. And again, if you have any other questions after we do this review, please stay on or follow up via email if this timing no longer works out for you. So let me just adjust my screen really quick. I'm going to stop my share for just a second. Thank you for all the votes. This is always so helpful. Okay. Where am I? Oh, here we go. I just saw my share. Okay. So we are going to start with the dashboard. Give me 1 second. I can get this going over here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to go over the dashboard. Justin, if you can drop the link for programs who are in the mentoring connector, I would say log in so you can also see as it's going through on the screen, just so you can toggle along. Get started right now. If you can't hear or see, please let me know.
The new mentoring connector has a completely revised dashboard that allows program and affiliate admins to quickly analyze inquiry trends at their program or within their affiliate region, respectively, and also conveniently allows access to relevant resources. The inquiry panel to the left displays, at a glance, the number of inquiries a program has received within the last 7 days. In this example, the program has received 10 inquiries in the last 7 days, 4 of which were contacted, while 6 were not. This is also represented in the graph. The white bars are inquiries that have been contacted, and the gray bars are inquiries that have not been contacted. For example, by hovering over this bar, we can see that on October 21st, the program received 2 inquiries in total, one of which was contacted and one of which was not. This information can help program admins quickly identify which prospective volunteers need to be responded to. The inquiry panel on the dashboard can also provide interesting trend information. By clicking on this calendar icon, we can select a predefined time frame, such as 90 or 180 days, or we can specify a custom time frame. Let's say we want to look at the inquiries the program has received over the last 30 days. Selecting that time frame will update the graph. Immediately, we can tell that on this date, October 25th, there was a large spike in inquiries. This information can be revealing, especially if the program did something to encourage that spike. For example, this program might have run a campaign at their local university on the importance of becoming a mentor, or they might have sent out their recruitment newsletter on a Tuesday instead of a Friday. Whatever the reason behind the spike, the program admin now has the ability to see if their recruitment efforts are effective. Clicking on the Inquiries button at the bottom of this panel takes users to the Inquiries page, where they can respond to the uncontacted inquiries. To learn how to respond to inquiries, please watch the How to Respond to Inquiries video. The dashboard remains the same for affiliate admins, except that the inquiries.
Awesome. So as you can see, the dashboard is pretty straightforward. And like they said, it should be able to give you, information about what your recruitment efforts may be most successful. So I hope that is like super, I mean, to me, from what it looked like before, it's more simple than ever. And again, with that uncontacted information right there, it kind of gives you that next action step. So next, we're going to talk about how to respond to inquiries, of which there are now multiple ways to do that, which is so nice. I'm excited for you guys. So I'm going to share that. And then again, any questions, please share it in the chat.
One of the new features in the Mentoring Connector is the ability to respond directly to prospective volunteer inquiries without signing in. You can take advantage of this feature no matter what email provider you use. When you receive an inquiry, this is what the email will look like. It will contain your program name, the prospective volunteer's name, in this case test, since that was the information we submitted in the last video, the role that the volunteer is seeking to play your program, either as a mentor or mentee, and finally, the contact button. Instead of signing in to respond to this inquiry made by test, you can now do so simply by clicking on this button. When you do, a new email window will pop up, no matter what email provider you use. You may notice that the prospective volunteer's email is encrypted. This is per our privacy and security policy. Once you begin an exchange with a prospective volunteer and they reply back, their unencrypted email will be shown. In this example, Outlook is being used, but this new method of replying to inquiries within your email will work with any provider you use. At this point, you can write out a response to the prospective volunteer and send it to them. If you have an email template that you want to use, or if you would like to create one, please refer to page 4 of the Program Admin Manual to learn how. The second method to respond to an inquiry is through the Mentoring Connector itself. This method may be familiar to program admins who have used the Mentoring Connector in the past. This approach may be used by program admins who missed the initial inquiry email, cannot find the inquiry email, or simply want to sign into the Mentoring Connector for other reasons, such as to update their program profile. To respond to an inquiry through the Mentoring Connector, you must first sign in and then navigate to the Inquiries tab at the top of your screen. Once on the Inquiries page, you will have access to a host of inquiry information, including how many total inquiries your program has received, which program received the inquiry if you are the program admin for multiple programs, the first and last name of the prospective volunteers, whether or not the inquiry came from a prospective mentor or mentee, if the inquiry has been responded to or not, which appears either as contacted or uncontacted, and finally, the time and date the inquiry was created. Each column can be sorted by clicking on it. You can quickly see which of the inquiries have not been responded to by looking at the status column. To respond to any of the uncontacted inquiries, click on the inquiry itself. You will be brought to the Inquiry Details page. From here, look for the Relay Email row and click on the encrypted email URL. Your default email provider will open, and you can proceed to type out a response to the prospective volunteer, in similar fashion to Method 1. When you respond to a prospective volunteer, their email will be revealed. In this example, because Maya Angelou has not been contacted yet, her email and phone number, if provided, since once again phone numbers are not required when making an inquiry, are marked as hidden. Once you have responded to the inquiry and the prospective volunteer's email is revealed, you may feel free to contact them through the email they provided.
Awesome. So to me, what's so exciting about that is you don't even have to log in to respond to people. So that is also why it's important in case there is turnover of staff or emails change, that information is updated within the mentoring connector. So if that changes, if you're having trouble updating that within the mentoring connector, reach out to myself or Justin, because we want to make sure that people are being notified, and that also that when we're following up, if somebody's been uncontacted, that we're able to reach out to you as well. And I will say, so he mentioned that email is the only requirement that a prospective volunteer has to fill out. If they do put in their phone number, there is an option for them to choose what their preference for being contacted is. So it is possible that somebody will apply, put in their phone number, and say that the best way to reach out to them is via text. So prepare to be flexible in how you reach out to people, but minimally, once you reach out to them, you'll get their email information, which is probably what we're all most familiar with for filling out. So for our newer programs, I'm going to share how to submit a program, how to submit your program, and what that process looks like. Share my screen again.
Submitting a program to the Mentoring Connector is free and easy. To begin, navigate to the Mentoring Connector and click on the Submit Program link at the bottom of the page. This is the Submit a Program form page. You cannot save the form, so be sure to set aside 10 to 15 minutes to fill it out. It is important to complete the form thoroughly, since whatever information you include here will be visible to the prospective volunteer. You can always return to this page to make any changes once your program is in the Mentoring Connector. Start by providing your program's name and description. Be sure to be detailed in describing what your program is and does, and what role the mentor should expect to play at your program. If your program is associated with a parent organization, you can select it from the drop-down menu. If you don't see your organization, click on this link to create one. You can also attach your program logo as a JPEG or PNG, if applicable. A logo is a great way to attract prospective volunteers. Next, you can indicate whether your program is recruiting mentors, mentees, or both. This information will be visible to prospective volunteers on the front-end search, except when you do not select one of the options. You may change this information at any time according to the current needs of your program. The Program Contact Information section asks you to provide your first and last name and email. You can provide your program's general info email or your personal email, depending on your program's recruitment process. While including the name of your position or title and a phone number is optional, adding this information is a good way to engage prospective volunteers. The new Mentoring Connector now has 3 options for program delivery in order to accommodate for different programmatic models. If your program has a community-based delivery, in which the mentor and mentee meet in a local community space, like a park or cafe, you can input the location of that community space. The way you input the location is up to you. It can be a street address, zip code, neighborhood, or an entire city or state. You can add as many locations as you want. To remove a location, simply click on the X button. If your program has a site-based delivery, in which the mentor and mentee meet at a consistent time and place, such as your agency's building or a school, you can add the location of that meeting site. If your program is offered in more than one site, you can add multiple locations, in the same way you can for community-based delivery. If you are an e-mentoring program, in which the mentor and mentee meet virtually, you will be prompted to specify if your program serves the entire country or a specific place. Selecting the national option will make your program available to every prospective volunteer in the front-end search, regardless of where in the United States they are located. Selecting the limited option allows you to specify the areas your e-mentoring program services. Once again, the location you provide can be a street, zip code, city, state, or other type of location. If your program offers a hybrid or blended delivery model, you can select as many of the options as you would like. The rest of the form enables you to provide more details about your program, including your program focus area, for example STEM, the type of mentoring your program provides, for example one-to-one or group mentoring, how your program is operated, how mentoring meetings are determined, and other demographic information for both the mentor and mentee. Once you have filled out the rest of these sections, click on the Next button to proceed. The final section of the program form asks you to respond to Mentor's 3 national standards. Programs applying to be listed in the connector must meet all 3 national standards before being approved. Programs that do not meet one or more of the standards are still eligible to be listed in the connector, and either a mentor affiliate or national team member, depending on the program state, will work with the program to help them meet all standards. To learn more about the 3 national standards, click on this link here. Be sure to provide an adequate description of the training your program provides to incoming mentors, since this section is manually reviewed by affiliate and national staff. Once you've replied to the 3 national standards questions, click Submit to complete the program form. You will be brought to this congratulations page confirming your submission. If you are completely new to the Mentoring Connector and have never signed in previously, you will receive 2 emails: a congratulations email, once again confirming your submission, and an administration email prompting you to create an account in the Mentoring Connector. If you have used the connector in the past and already have an account but are submitting another program, you will only receive the congratulations email. Your application will be reviewed as soon as it is received. Applications submitted in an affiliate's region will be reviewed by that affiliate. All other applications submitted by programs in non-affiliate regions will be reviewed by Mentor National. Please reach out to connector@mentoring.org with questions regarding this application process.
Awesome. So those are the main details that you all said you wanted to be addressed. I think a big change as far as that you saw in the application process, but will also be in existing profiles, is the e-mentoring specific aspect. As we know that many programs have gone hybrid or included virtual options. That's something you want to make sure is up to date. And then again, as they mentioned, where you're accepting virtual mentors from. Do you still want those mentors to be virtual, or do you doesn't matter where they're tuning in if it's virtual? So that is something for you to clarify in your profile, because for somebody who is applying, there may be mentors who are only interested in virtual mentoring and are looking for nationwide e-mentoring opportunities. So that is information, again, you want to make sure is up to date. So you're showing up in prospective mentor searches appropriately and people are being connected to appropriate programs. So if there are any questions, now would be the time to ask. We're just about wrapped up. I was going to go through the inquiry video just so you could see. Yes, Alicia, email us for sure. And we, again, will have some links to some other resources for you all to work through. There is a program affiliate guide to the Mentoring Connector. It's not yet been updated to the new one, and I'm waiting to find out when that will be. It still holds true. Most of the information just looks different, but we will get that to you in that follow-up email. So I'm just going to show you real quick. Carl, no fee, 100% free. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the inquiry side. Feel free to drop off. Thank you for coming. Everyone who's been here will receive all of the information from myself and Justin. But we really appreciate you all being engaged in the Mentoring Connector and getting engaged. Again, this is a big priority for us this year, to get programs engaged and people who want to mentor, connected with you all out there doing the work. I'm going to share my screen one more time, just so we can see about what it looks like and how that kind of search works on the other end for people looking for your program.
What is an inquiry? When a prospective volunteer submits their name and email to a program they are interested in mentoring at, an inquiry is made. Let's look at how that inquiry is made. In this example, we will use a test name, email, and zip code. We have the option to refine our search based on criteria such as search distance and program delivery. For example, we can filter the search results by community-based mentoring programs, in which the mentor and mentee meet on their own time and in locations within the community, like a park or cafe. Site-based mentoring programs, in which the mentor and mentee meet at a consistent time and place, like a school or agency site. And finally, e-mentoring programs, in which the mentor and mentee meet online. If you are unsure of which option to choose, you have the ability to select as many of the preferences as you want, since some programs in our network offer hybrid or blended mentoring models. When we click Search, we'll get a list of programs that match our criteria. If we want to further filter our search after seeing the list of programs, we can do so by clicking on any of the bubbles at the top. On this page, we can see the name of the program, the logo, if applicable, and what type of delivery the program offers. If it is a site-based delivery, we can click on the Google Maps icon to see where the program is located. The program Everything Mentoring catches our eye, and we want to learn more about it. Clicking on a program allows us to view more details about it, including the age of youth they serve, their program focus, location, and other important information. Since this program meets our needs and is interesting to us, we will apply or inquire to this program. We can do so easily because our contact information has already been automatically filled in. If we want, we can also leave a phone number and specify how we want to be contacted, but this is an optional field. We can also specify if we want to mentor youth or if we are looking for a mentor on behalf of a mentee. If the program is not accepting mentees, this option will be unavailable. Once the information in the inquiry panel is to our satisfaction, we click the blue Apply to Program button and voila. We are then brought to this thank you page that confirms we have successfully inquired to the program. The program will immediately receive a notification of this inquiry via email. Programs are expected to respond to inquiries within 2 to 3 business days of receiving one. There are 2 ways to respond to inquiries in the Mentoring Connector, and both methods are explained in the next video.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for coming. Rachel, if you want to stay on so we can answer the question, I'm going to stop recording now. But we'll be following up with the recording and all the videos you watched and hopefully an updated affiliate guide, but we'll send the old one either way. So thank you everybody for coming. Have a good day.